Hi everybody, this is Rob and Kurt with Two Brothers Hobby. We're taking a look at the Ares RC Exera 130 CX Ultra Micro MD500E RTF.
Yeah. And it's really just the Exera 130 CX because it's a.
Well, then why do you make me say all
part of
this
the description. When you go out to the web page itself, this is all the stuff it says. You know, it's got all that. It's an MD500, right? It's inside of a scale fuselage.
Yeah.
MD500E.
Yes.
It is an ultra micro. It's ready to fly. But ultimately,
so all that's true, huh?
All that's true. But essentially, it's an Ares Exera 130 CX. Period. But
that would have been a lot easier to say.
It's their latest coaxial offering. In fact, they had offered a previous brand with collision avoidance technology,
yes, is
what they called it, and that used side sensors and a nose sensor and a tail sensor and stuff. So it was really, it was all that lateral movement keeping you from running into things. The Exera introduces those same sonic sensors on the top and bottom. And the big challenge, like when you're starting off on coaxials, right? You remember Rob? It was pitch control. You're like, whoa, I'm high, whoa, I'm low. So it kind of it becomes kind of a challenge for you to then start focusing on, your orientation.
Sure.
So with the AAT or altitude assist technology, this allows beginners to just jam the throttle. It brings it up off the ground. There's 3 different modes it'll fly in: mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. Mode 1 it detects both top and bottom, so it'll keep you from hitting the ceiling, and it'll take you into an altitude, a preset altitude off the ground, even at full throttle. So you just whip the throttle up and focus on steering,
flying,
steering, if you will, for new beginners. So just work that stick and get a feel for what's going on.
Sure.
Without having to go crazy with the with your rudder and your cyclic and everything. You're trying to get used to all the different axes and do throttle management for pitch control. So mode 1 gives us that buffer. No ceiling hits, no ground hits, pulls us start off the ground. Mode 2 just protects us from ceilings. So when we're getting that throttle down now and maybe want to go up and down a little bit more, it keeps us from smacking the ceiling.
Sure.
And then in mode 3, which this is all obtained by a switch on the side of the boom right here. All the way, I'm going to mess that up. All the way mode switch, here we go. All the way in is mode 1. That was my second guess. In the center is mode 2, and then all the way towards the tail is mode 3.
We're supposed to convince people that this is...
Yes, we know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So the switch all the way forward towards the pod is up and down. It's ceiling and floor sensing. Middle position is just ceiling sensing, and then all the way to the back opens it up. Opens up the helicopter. You can, there's no sensing or assistance at all. So take a look at the specs real quick. Ares Exera 130CX has overall length of 9.6 inches. The height is 6.3 inches. The rotor diameter is 10.5 inches. The weight with battery is 4.8 ounces. Battery is a 700 milliamp 1S 3.7 volt LiPo, that is included. Charger is a 1S 3.7 volt LiPo, AC included. Transmitter is a 4-channel 2.4 gig with dual rates. Onboard electronics, 4-in-1 receiver, 2 ASCs, mixer, gyro, 2 servos, altitude assist technology module, and sensors, and those are installed, of course. Price at the time of this review is $119.99. So that's all the specs. That's everything that comes along with the kit. You see kind of laid out here. They even give you a little screwdriver, and they give you these skid extensions too, 2 pieces of plastic that slip on the back of the skids. If you're on carpet, the altitude assist stuff it'll get a little confused because it's kind of falling on its back, and there's a lot more movement on carpet. So what you'll notice is it'll kind of start jittering, and it seems like it's a little bit, hiccuping and acting crazy. Put those extensions on if you're on a soft surface. On a hard surface, you don't need those. You can certainly leave them on if you want to, so you can land on or start off from different hard surfaces. But you don't need them on a hard surface; it'll start up just fine. But let's go ahead and take a look at some flight footage and show it flying around. Indoors is indoors, Okay, it didn't hit the floor, okay, it hit the ceiling. It's kind of hard to sell.
Yeah.
Hey, this really works. It does work. However, I'll make one note. They do offer calibration steps. And if you look at your manual, it'll go down through, and you want to read through it first, especially if you're new to flight. There's a section here for calibration, and if in mode 1, in that full assist mode, you're finding that it's not getting off the ground, that's relatively common. New motors that aren't broken in, everything else. They try to calibrate at the factory, but there's enough field variance to where you may need to calibrate that in mode 1. It's pretty simple. You go through the steps, you flip the switch back and forth like 5 times, follow the instructions, and then what you're going to need to do is hover it for about 4 minutes where it needs to be. And there's some conditions, no air conditioning, blowing close to it, air vents, things that are emitting a lot of sonic, signatures. And but you want to hover for about 4 minutes, and then at that point it's recalibrated to understand what 2 or 3 feet off the ground is, and then you're ready to go. Let's take a look at some flight footage, and this is really going to show you just what it does outdoors, that it is flexible and it can fly. And then we'll come back and talk about the review scoring.
All right.